WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. It still feels a bit like winter, and ice fishers are still trying to get a little angling done before spring. Tom Drzwicki, the owner of Bayside Ice and Marine Rescue, has rescued no less than 10 people from falling through the ice in this past week. He said if you must go on the ice, be prepared to fall through.
Wear a float suit, have that cell phone. If it's not waterproof, you better get it in a baggie or something. Tell people where you're going. You need to fish where people can see you. Don't try to walk out there 2 or 3 miles where nobody can see you, because it's all about this self-rescue. If you fall through the ice, can you physically get yourself back up on top of that ice before you succumb to hypothermia, before the rescue personnel get to you?
Next week, temperatures will once again be in the 50s, adding to further ice melt. Health experts are warning of another tough flu season in Wisconsin next year, following a canceled FDA meeting. The agency recently announced the cancellation of its meeting with the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. The meeting typically sees a committee of independent experts making recommendations about which strains of the flu to target the following winter, so that mass production of those vaccines can begin before flu season starts. Wisconsin saw an uptick in respiratory viruses this winter amid lower vaccination rates. Opioid deaths are on the decline in Wisconsin as settlement funding from national litigation streams in. The funding has been used for harm reduction efforts, public awareness campaigns, and school-based prevention programs across the state. Thanks to those efforts, officials say opioid deaths in the state last June fell to their lowest levels since April of 2020. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
Wisconsin gets the win. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Men's college basketball. The Badgers beat the Gophers in Minnesota. Matt LePay on the Badgers Radio Network.
Inbounds pass to Tanjay. They'll let him dribble out the clock, and the Badgers make it 9 straight against Minnesota as the Badgers win it by 7. Final score tonight, Wisconsin 74, Minnesota 67.
John Blackwell with 25 points. The Badgers 21 for 24 from the free throw line. That's the best in the nation. Great guard.
You get on the road, the fact that we were able to really be solid with the ball in the second half and get to the free throw line was really important.
Marquette with a loss at UConn, 72-66. The Golden Eagles host number 6th ranked St. John's on Saturday. NBA, the Bucks over the short-handed Mavericks, 137-107. Giannis scoring his 20,000th career point.
20,000 points is obviously when I go on the court, I'm a competitor. I'm going to compete. That's who I am.
It's Giannis Antetokounmpo with Sports on Mike Clemens.
This is your local civic media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Increasing clouds tonight, lows upper teens to 20. Clouds tomorrow morning, then turning mostly sunny for the afternoon, and highs in the upper 30s. Even warmer temperatures for the weekend and into next week, highs climbing through the 40s, even some 50s. Currently, it's 37.
The Dom Salvia Show.
Elon Musk. You're going to fire a bunch of folks. Well, that's going to, increase unemployment. That's going to have an impact on the economy. The government buys farmers' goods for the USAID and no more USAID. Well, this thing's going to rot in the field. What happens to the prices? What happens to the farmers? What is the point here? It just seems like these are just such amateur decision-making, wasting our taxpayer dollars by wasting people's time.
The Dom Salvia Show. Weekdays from 4 till 6 on the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app. The Todd Alba Show.
Think about how many people in our communities, our friends, our families, our neighbors, our postal workers, carriers, people that work at our Veterans Affairs hospitals, USDA. Here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump's lieutenant, thinks of all the people I just mentioned.
Federal employees do not deserve their jobs.
That's what Donald Trump and MAGA believe if you are a federal worker.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Time to spring ahead. Why does daylight saving time exist? I'm Lisa Hale.
And I'm Jerry Barr. Good time for a nap. One expert weighs in on the next New Wisco weekend.
Saturday mornings at 8. Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Scwhaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who loves to watch true crime, but only if it's shoplifting, Pete Scwhaba.
Hey. Wisconsin, let's do this. We're going to light it up, man. It's Thursday night. Great to have you with me. We are live on the air from downtown Green Bay, broadcasting statewide over the beautiful state of Wisconsin, and it was a beautiful day today. I pulled a total Pete last night, and that sounds worse than it is. But we got snow, and I didn't even shovel because I knew most of it was going to melt away today, and most of it is gone. So I saved myself. Well, I was just lazy for the most part. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Night Light. Got a fun show tonight. It's very exciting. I've got one of my Civic Media colleagues whose show, The Todd Alba Show, airs here on the network. Todd Alba, the host of The Todd Alba Show. Conrad, don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. You know how many hosts he had to beat out to host The Todd Alba Show, even though his name was Todd Alba?
Do you know how many?
The guy brought it. Came down like I think he was up against Ted Koppel, and he beat him.
Wow, that's great.
Probably don't know who Ted Koppel
is.
I don't. Google. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's a better day when it's nice. It's getting to the spring, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, same, buddy. Todd Alba is here at 6:35. He's going to make the popcorn pick of the week, folks. This has become a crucial part of our week and hopefully your week, because you got to know what to watch. You can't sit down and scroll through every app. So we're just going to give you a pick, and it's going to come by way of Todd Alba. He's going to be here at 6:35. That will be fun. And then I'm excited. I've got a first-time guest tonight on Night Light. A few weeks ago, we had Matt Harper on, hip-hop. What was the other thing we called Matt Harper? His title was rock hip-hop, or there was something he put with hip-hop. It sounded really cool. But Matt's great. And he was here, and he performed, and he referred me to our guest tonight at 7:20, Paul Hanna, who is a staple and kind of a local legend. And he's played with some of the biggest bands there are. So Paul is coming into the studio. Very excited to meet Paul, and I will be happy to hear him play and talk to him about music. All the things we do on Night Light when we have musicians in the studio. It's going to be a good time. So good thing you're here. I am wearing... I'm going to open up here. I cannot find my Thursday night shirt. And I've already worn this shirt once this week. I'm a little self-conscious. How do you lose a shirt?
Is it lost in the laundry somewhere?
It's got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
A shirt doesn't just leave on its own. But I can't find it. I can't. I looked in the laundry room. I looked in my office. I looked in my bedroom. I cannot find my Thursday shirt, and it's really irritating me because I've had to double up. I have other shirts I could bring out of retirement. They're not in the rotation, but they're fine shirts. I can't find my Thursday shirt. I don't know how that happened.
I don't have a rotating day of I know that shirt's going to be my Monday shirt.
I don't either, actually. I'm just doing it for the bit. Okay. But Conrad, that's crazy. What do? You just go into your closet? You don't know what you're going to wear? You go in willy-nilly and pick something out?
I just go into my closet. It basically decides on what color I wear because I have my closet color coded. So just go in there.
Hold on. I got to unpack that. You have your
my closet is
color coded. Yeah. Well, you have all your clothes by color.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that coming from you.
I never did it before, but when I moved in, I actually have like a nice walk-in closet. I was like, we got to do something cool
Look at
for
you,
it.
a young single guy, 25 years old. You have a walk-in closet. It's
yeah,
insane. Good for you, man.
I was surprised when I toured the place, and it was like, you sold me already. No walk-in closet.
You're trying to be like that single guy, like, don't make a big deal about the walk-in closet. Don't make a big deal about the walk-in closet. Sold! It is nice when you can kind of go in there, and I've got that too, but I'm much older than you. I'm impressed. So you have your clothes color coordinated. So you, on one day, you're feeling like a nice beige, and then you go blue, and no kidding. Wow.
Yep.
All right. Good for you. Well, we just learned something about Conrad here tonight, folks. And I think you should text and weigh in. What do you think? Are you impressed by Conrad's color coordination in his walk-in bachelor pad closet? I'm pretty impressed by that. Phone lines are open, as is the text line. I don't know. I'll try to dig that shirt up somewhere. It's a slick-looking shirt. And it makes me look a couple pounds. Do you have clothes like that where you go, yeah, I look better than that. I look a little bit thinner. Not that you can fool people too much, but...
Well, a nice black really is slimming, you know?
Absolutely. That's the shirt I can't find. My black short sleeve shirt. Damn it. So, all right, this is very exciting today, folks. It is. Every once in a while we share the national days of the year. Today is a big one. Not just because it's Oreo cookie day. It's the day of the dude. And most of you, or some of you may not know who the dude is. He is the star. He is the central character in The Big Lebowski. Jeffrey Lebowski, but he goes by the dude. In the movie, there's a big mix-up with the Big Lebowski, who goes by Jeffrey Lebowski, and that's how the whole story starts. So it is the day of the dude, and share your thoughts on The Big Lebowski with us if you've seen the film. If you haven't, I recommend it. It's a great watch. It's one of those films, rarely does a film, or I should say rarely do people, if they don't like a film the first time, or they just think it's okay, do they go back to it. But the Lebowski kind of bucks the trend. I know a lot of people that saw The Big Lebowski that were kind of like, yeah, it was okay. And then they go back to it, and they just fall in love with it. And that's what happened with me. My writing partner, Greg Liana, who has been on this show, said, I'm telling you, give it another chance. This is like in 1999. And I'm like, I didn't not like it. I just didn't love it. And he's like, I'm telling you, try it again. And I did. And it's one of my all-time favorite movies. You've seen it, right?
The first time I watched it was after, I think, last year when we talked
on this day, probably.
Yeah, and it was a little like, I don't know, the story was a little hard to follow sometimes. Right. But the comedy just brought it back. It was so funny. The deadpan sometimes just got me so good.
And I used to think maybe you needed to kind of be familiar with L.A. to love it, but I don't think that's it. I think you just have to watch it again. It's so great. The characters are so great. John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman. But that leads us, ladies and gentlemen, to our question of the day.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda. Question.
Question.
Questions.
In honor of The Big Lebowski, who is your favorite movie character of all time? He's a great character, the Lebowski. Jeffrey Lebowski. And I'm going to say he's up there on my list. I'm going to give probably 3 over the course of the show. The Big Lebowski is one of my favorites. But who is yours? Who is your all-time favorite movie character? Is it Ace Ventura? Is it Russell Crowe in L.A. Confidential? Is it Dirty Harry or James Bond? Is it Kristen Wiig? Or I know, I should have said Kate McKinnon. Melissa McCarthy. Those are actors, but who is your favorite movie character? That is our question of the night, and love it when you guys participate. It's always so much more fun. Phone lines are open, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can reach us at the same number via the text line or the Civic Media app, which is so easy to use. Let us know who your favorite movie character is. Could be Oppenheimer, could be Barbie from a couple years ago. One of my favorites, I usually lean toward comedy, is probably Clark Griswold.
That's I'll share 3 too, and I'll say 3 is Clark Griswold for me.
Number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Counting down. Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused too. One of my all-time favorite. Fletch is another good one. You could just say Chevy Chase's characters. Yeah. But there's so many good ones. But who is yours? Who is your favorite movie character in honor of The Big Lebowski? That's a good question. I hope we get some good responses with this. We'll ask Todd Alba, too, when he's here at 6:35. Lots going on today. I'm trying to think, where am I at here? here. Okay. So here's a big. Do you watch network television anymore, or you just stream stuff?
Well, I watch sports on it, network television, but I'd say the one show that I actually watch on TV every week is Impractical Jokers.
Is that still on? Or new episodes, or you just watch the?
Well, so Joe Gatto is not on it anymore, and that happened like 2 years ago now.
Okay.
So every week they have like a celebrity guest in that spot. So I think it's kind of funny to see celebs, kind of do the Impractical Joker thing. Yeah, so that's the one thing I watch every week on it.
All right. I don't really watch much. I watch a show called Chicago PD. It's not great. It's a Dick Wolf show. I decided I would watch one of the Chicago shows. So I watch Chicago PD as opposed to Fire or Med. I used to watch SVU. I was a Dick Wolf fan. It's not that I love Dick Wolf. It's just that you know what you're getting. You're not going to be like too disappointed. But it is a network show. And I don't think they measure up to the streaming shows by and large. So today I read that they canceled. There's a show called FBI on CBS. And it had 2 spinoffs, FBI Most Wanted and FBI International. Both shows rated the top of the Nielsen ratings in their slot. And they both got canceled. And I can't figure out why. And I've Googled it today, and I still can't figure out why. The regular FBI is still on. But not International and not Most Wanted. And I think, do you know who Dylan McDermott is, the actor?
It sounds familiar.
He's like the main character in FBI Most Wanted. But he's so cringe, and I can't tell if it's the writing or his acting. Like, he'll be flirting with a colleague, and he'll go, "Here's someone I think I want to get to know a little more." It's like, who talks like that?
That seems like something he'd like deadpan to the camera and say that.
Yeah, as a joke. It's just terrible, right? Like, nobody talks like that. And if they do, you shouldn't give them the time of day. All right, we're going to come back. I'm going to read some of your texts. We're going to talk, God, what do we do? Oh, here's something that really ticked me off earlier today. I got this phone message, and I'm going to tell you all about it next. This is Night Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
A teardrop star, and it breaks my heart. When a teardrop falls, I wanna cry, cry, cry along. When you're feeling blue, I'm waiting just for you.
From De Pere to Swamico, 97.9 WGBW.
Everyone loves to say that they're Irish around St. Patrick's Day, but are you really? Honestly, are you? Well, if you're not sure and if those pesky DNA tests kind of make you feel uncomfortable, then the Irish Genealogy Workshop on Monday, March 10th at the Brown County Library might be for you. This series is going to offer extensive information about the sources available to discover your Irish or Scottish roots. Registration is required. May the luck of the Irish be on your side and head to WGBW.FM, click events, and maybe you won't make a liar out of those Kiss Me I'm Irish t-shirts.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. In a brief to the North Carolina Court of Appeals, a bipartisan group of former county election directors urged the court to reject a claim that as many as 65,000 voters were ineligible last November. And a former state Supreme Court justice is arguing in another appeals case that gerrymandering by the state legislature is akin to stuffing the ballot box. We followed the claims from state Supreme Court candidate Jefferson Griffin that as many as 65,000 registered eligible voters had incomplete registrations in a race he lost by 734 votes to incumbent Justice Allison Riggs. The race is the only unresolved election in the country. In late February, a bipartisan group of 42 former county election directors filed a brief outlining why the voters should be considered valid and concluding the citizens of North Carolina who obey the laws and the direction of the elections administrators should not have their votes discarded. In another North Carolina case, former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr is arguing in state appeals court that the legislature's gerrymandered voting districts manipulate election outcomes. By packing voters by party into a district, he argues, it violates the state constitution's guarantee of free elections with a fair count. Or told the Charlotte News and Observer, if they can't stuff the ballot box, how can they stuff the voter pool?
You like Maximus? Our question tonight is, who is your favorite movie character in honor of the Day of the Dude? Jeffrey Lebowski, one of my favorite movie characters, just a phenomenal character that the Coen brothers came up with. But who are your favorite movie characters throughout the history of cinema? Just looking more at this site. You got Maximus from Gladiator, Inspector Clouseau from the Pink Panther movies, Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great one. Lisbeth Salander, I think I'm saying the last name right, from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That is a phenomenal movie and a great character. Rick Blaine from Casablanca. Love that character. Harry Potter. George Bailey. The list goes on and on. Who is your favorite movie character? It's the Day of the Dude. We got to celebrate this. And I'm going to say Jeffrey Lebowski is one of mine for sure. But let us know. We got some good ones already. This is from the 608. Nobody messes with the Jesus. That's a quote from Lebowski. I love that.
Yep.
Let's see if we have time to get to that clip, but we'll see. Let me read a few more of these. Who's this? Conrad, do you know this guy? Severus Snape?
Yeah, that's, well, he plays one of the professors in Harry Potter. And he starts out, you think he's bad, and then he turns out to be a protector of Harry at the end.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, those are nice. That's a nice variant there, 608. Well done. Andrew from Maine says, favorite character, Mr. Aaron Zommers of the Todd Albaugh Show. Oh, wait, you said movie character. My bad. Hey, you don't know, the jury is still out on Aaron Zommers. They could still create a movie character based around Aaron's persona. I think they'd be well served. That's just a message for Hollywood in general. From the 262, Sly Stallone as Rocky. Yeah, that's a good one. Rocky's a great character. Brian from Green Bay says, Sundown from Top Gun. Who's Sundown? Is that the love interest in the new? I'm going to look that up. I'll find that out. Thanks, Brian, for the text. All great texts. Keep them coming, folks. So many movie characters to choose from. Atticus Finch. Love Atticus Finch. George Bailey, like I said. Frank Drebin from Police Squad or The Naked Gun. Love Frank Drebin. We got a call?
That was actually Tom from New Berlin. He says that his favorite is Groot.
Who's Groot? If this is going to be
from the Gardens of the Galaxy,
or the okay,
where he only says, "I am Groot."
I'm going to need help with Marvel, DC, and any Harry Potter stuff. You're going to stump me. I won't know.
That's all right. Yeah, I can help you.
Speaking of the man himself, who is destined to be the central focus of a movie one day, or at least someone will play him. If they're making a movie about me, I'm thinking maybe they can cast Robert De Niro. Too old, Aaron. You look great, man. You don't look that old. I know you live hard. You party. I have no idea what Aaron does with his social life. Don't you just kind of picture him following Todd around, keeping Todd in line?
Just the whole day.
Working? The whole day.
Aaron, I could see Adam Brody. There we go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Adam Brody, yeah. Adrian Brody, you mean? Or are you talking Adam Brody?
I guess either. Well, Adrian's probably too old.
Hey, listen, tomorrow, Adrian Brody found out about our little gag we did. He is not happy. He left me a phone message. We had a little conversation. We'll play that tomorrow night on the show. You're not going to want to miss that. Woody from Toy Story. That's a good one. So many to choose from. Keep those texts coming, folks. Who is your favorite movie character of all time? 855-752-4842, 855-75 Civic. Aaron Zommers' boss coming up. I don't know. Is it his boss? They're colleagues.
Colleagues.
Todd does like to boss people around, though. I'm sure Aaron gets the brunt of that. But Todd Albaugh will be here to make the popcorn pick of the week, talking about movies. I got one of those messages today. This really bugged me. I let it go to voicemail, didn't recognize the number, and I just looked at the wording. You know how you can open your voicemail and see the wording of the message. And it's like, and they said, Pete, it's important that you, they said urgent. It's urgent that you contact us about your loan status immediately. And my initial instinct, I kind of panicked. I was like, wait, what? What? And then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have any loan. So people that are younger than like 70 or even 80 probably aren't fooled by that. But why is that allowed? I know it's buyer beware. Everybody wants to make a buck. You could do whatever you want. But when did we start like tricking people into calling them back? This is probably a sales technique that has been going on for decades. And it's just kind of morphed into different forms. But now they leave like they know you, like they're doing business with you. It just bothers me. Look, there are many worse things you could do to break the law. But I don't know why that ticks me off. Sometimes I just get irritated with people who push too far.
So when I was looking for a new place to go work out, and there's this new Crunch Fitness in the Bay Park Square. So I put my name in there. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll see. And then I gave them the number. Now I got a different gym, so I don't know how to get my number off of that because they call me so much. Be like, so are you thinking about joining?
Oh my God.
No.
It's a gym. Relax. I can't stand that either. It's like everybody wants your phone number.
Yeah.
And I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
It's become so valuable. All they want are lists of numbers. And you don't realize the power you have in not giving someone your phone number. If other people would do it, we could band together.
When I worked at Champ Sports, I was the person who would ask for the number at the register. I'd be like, do you want to give me your number? My boss would get mad and be like, no, you need to be enthusiastic about getting that number. Like, they don't want to give me their number. I know they don't.
Conrad, do a cartwheel, do a dismount, and ask for the number. That's how we do it. Yeah, I don't, what kind of people, was there a type that were most likely to give you their number?
I guess I'd really only ask parents. Like, if it's a guy that's like probably my age.
Well, of course you ask parents. You can't ask kids.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, saying to a guy my age, I knew they were not gonna want that to give the phone number.
Tell you where to go.
Because that's how I feel too. So I'm like.
Our question of the night is, who is your favorite movie character? We're doing that in honor of the Day of the Dude, The Big Lebowski. It's a big day. One of my favorite movie characters. We got some great texts. Keep them coming. We'll read some more after the news. And it's our popcorn pick of the week. Todd Albaugh is here. Paul Hanna is here. Local music legend at 720. It's a fun night here at Night Light. Glad you're with me. It's Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW. Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The latest Marquette University Law School poll of Wisconsin voters finds divided views on President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk. Trump's approval rating is at 48% to 51% disapproval among Wisconsin voters. This figure is slightly higher than when Trump first occupied the White House 8 years ago. In the March 2017 poll, Trump's approval was at 41% and disapproval at 47%. In this year's poll, Trump's support is worse with independents, where he polled with net positive ratings in 2017, but has net negative ratings now. The poll found that voters have a more negative view of Elon Musk, who has a 41% favorable to 53% unfavorable rating. Among independent voters, Musk fares even worse, with just 29% viewing him favorably to 58% unfavorably. The poll is among registered voters in Wisconsin and has a slight Republican lean in its sample. A group backed by billionaire Elon Musk is behind a new set of attack ads and text messages targeting voters just weeks ahead of the election for a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. It employs a battleground state strategy used last year against Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. It's the latest example of how Musk's extraordinary wealth has been used to promote the Republican Party's political interests. In this case, it's for ideological control of the highest court in one of the country's most important presidential swing states. The April 1st election will determine whether liberals maintain their 4-3 majority on the court. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Scwhaba. The tabloids love to stir up trouble and are continuing to do so following last week's Oscars broadcast. After Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor for his role in A Real Pain, cameras caught Edward Norton, who also was nominated for his role in A Complete Unknown, leaning over and saying the F word to his wife. It's not 100% clear what he said, or if he was referring to the fact that he lost, or if he's the most awkward romantic ever. Margaret Qualley's star is on the rise after a small but star-making role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and playing opposite Demi Moore in this year's Oscar-nominated The Substance. The world is pretty much her oyster. After a really unnecessary James Bond music tribute at the Oscars last week, which happened just in time as Bond was killed off 2 years ago, fans are now saying they hope the daughter of Andy McDowell becomes a Bond girl. Quite a leap. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Scwhaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Increasing clouds tonight, lows upper teens to 20. Clouds tomorrow morning, then turning mostly sunny for the afternoon and highs in the upper 30s. Even warmer temperatures for the weekend and into next week, highs climbing through the 40s, even some 50s. Currently 35 degrees.
No more mold, no more damage, no more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month. New shower, new door, new tub, new wall, new anti-slip technology. BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115.
The Todd Alba Show.
Trump and Vance verbally assaulted the president of Ukraine, an ally of the U.S. Trump defending the president of Russia, a known dictator. This is a complete capitulation to our sworn enemies, and it's time for Republicans, my former party that I left in 2011, to speak the hell up, because if we don't, it's not going to be long before we don't have anything left to defend.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Dom Selvia.
Next time, can the House GOP use their mandate to...
It's time for the Nightlight Popcorn Pick of the Week, where we recommend a movie that you'll either enjoy or won't. Here's your host, Pete Scwhaba.
Welcome back. We are getting so many texts. I'm going to have to stretch out my jaw to get through all these. But keep them coming, folks. I promise we'll get to them. It's a good question tonight. Who is your favorite movie character in honor of the Day of the Dude and the dude himself, Jeffrey Lebowski? Brian from Green Bay says. Tom Hagen from The Godfather. From the 920, Mary from Green Bay says, Marty McFly. That's a good one.
Oh, that's a great one.
That's a great one, yeah. Hard to go wrong with Back to the Future. All right, so this is exciting. Paul Hanna is here at 7:20. He's gonna rock us in studio. He is a local musician here in Northeast Wisconsin, but he's been all over, played with some huge acts. But right now, folks, I'm very excited to welcome my next guest. He's been here before. He's no stranger. He's been in the studio before. Remember that, Conrad?
Oh, yeah.
He took over. I wasn't even allowed in here when he was here. But he graciously let me in. And he is the host. You can hear him every day from 12 to noon right here on the network. His name is Todd Alba. Todd, how are you?
Good evening, Pete. Good evening, Conrad. I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and it's great to be with you. A legitimate star, Pete Scwhaba here at Civic Media.
Yeah, right. Hey, you know, I don't know if you remember this, Todd. You were one of the first people
Something wrong, Pete?
Yes, when I looked at the stream before the break, there was nothing there, and I thought you were just doing voice, and now I just got to look at you, and that's a phenomenal outfit, Todd.
Look, I commit to the bit. This is last time I checked. It's called Popcorn Pick of the Week, and so I've got popcorn here. I've popped popcorn.
Okay.
We got that. We got a mostly gone. I got a Swisher Sweet. We got a Maker's Mark. Most of it's gone. A little bit here on ice. I'm sitting next to a beautiful fireplace not far from a beagle.
Okay, so I get the popcorn. I get the Swisher Sweet, by the way. Very Clint Eastwood.
Thank you.
And the hat. I might need some clarification on the hat and the outfit and what looks like a tutu from my angle.
That's you're so well observant. You're absolutely right. And as Letterman says, thank you so very much for asking. Here's the deal, because I've committed to this popcorn pick of the week, and once we get into it, it has to do my get up here. I'm in a white cowboy hat, which I actually do own. I'm in a pink and blue flamingo T-shirt from the soccer team, the football team, as they say in Spanish, in Madison. And then I have pink leotards on, and yes, a white frilly tutu. And it has to do with one of the characters in tonight's popcorn pick of the week.
All right. Well, now I'm very excited.
And I've rented this fireplace because I live in a studio down in the projects next to the railroad track. So I'm down here in Monroe, Wisconsin, borrowing the fireplace on my friend's Kurt and Florsey. So that's true, actually. I've come to Monroe just for this segment.
God, the bar has been raised for the popcorn pick of the week. Remember when Nikki Zerjev came in and she brought all these snacks? I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. And it was. But Todd Alba, my friend, the bar has been raised. Thank you.
It's for you because you understand that my family loves you. When my stepmother, she rarely listens to my show. And then last time I was on your show, I said, well, I'm going to be on the Pete Scwhaba show on Nite. And she said, wait, Pete Scwhaba? I said, yeah. And she goes, you mean the guy who does all the stuff on Wisconsin Public Television? I said, yeah. Oh, I'll listen. I'll watch. I mean, she was very excited for you. For me, it's whatever. But for Pete Scwhaba, and God love you, you're legit. I mean, I listen to this show. You have actors on, you have writers, you have directors. I'm not joking around now. It's one of the best programs we have on Civic Media. So I felt that me, Todd, I had to up the game because compared to you, I'm just, community access radio.
So you're on from noon to 2. That's the sweet spot. And listen,
people are just eating.
Don't worry. Your stepmom will come around. It's hardest to headline.
I appreciate that.
It's hardest to headline in your hometown.
Right.
So I don't think my parents listen to this show. So there you go.
Well, I know Conrad's whole family down. We have half of Florida listening tonight. God love them.
That's an anomaly, though, don't you think, Todd? I mean, honestly.
I don't know. I lived in Florida for about 8 months on Marco Island. It was beautiful. I'm serious.
I'm just laughing because you must have been so bummed when I at first didn't notice you.
No, I was waiting for it. I was just waiting for it.
Well, thank you, buddy. It's great to have you here. I love the outfit. Now I'm very curious about what your popcorn pick of the week will be. But let's get to this first. Okay,
sure.
Let me ask you this, Todd. Our question of the night: who is your favorite movie character?
I heard this earlier, and I've been thinking because it's a great question. And by the way, I heard the question was it last night? What are you giving up for Lent?
For Lent, yeah.
Right. And to answer that one, I traditionally give up abstinence for Lent, and because somebody has to do it, so I thought, well, why not me? And so far it's not going very well. By the way,
what do you do? What does that mean? Just binge on everything? Then you can't get
pretty much. I mean, sleep with anyone who comes in the door. I mean, whatever. Again, not going well. My dating life has not changed.
When they walk in and see you in that getup, it might.
All right, exactly. I mean, I put this on, and the parents of my stepson. She looked at me and she said, "I knew you were gay, but not that gay." She didn't say that, but the looks and everything.
You could read her mind. Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
No, I would say in all seriousness, favorite, because here's the thing, and I know you appreciate this as a writer. I love things that are well written. I don't care whether it's music or film or books or whatever.
Yeah.
So part of it's the writing, but then how the actor interprets it. The first one is I know this is low-hanging fruit, but my God, who else could ever play Indiana Jones besides Harrison Ford?
Oh, that's a great one.
I mean, that's just a character that you go and you cannot wait to see get on on the screen. And then the other one, I'm a big Matt Damon fan, but those Bourne films. I mean, a conflicted character like that it's just, I love conflicted characters because, you know, as appeared on the stream tonight, I'm a bit conflicted myself.
Todd's just working through some stuff, folks. Don't worry.
Right.
Listen, if you're listening on the stream, or if you can get to the stream, you'd be well served to watch this broadcast because you got to see Todd's outfit. It's fantastic. It's absolute gold, and yet it's not. So
exactly the point.
All right, so Todd, I know you're a movie fan. I can't believe it's taken us this long to get you on for the popcorn pick of the week. But where do you like to watch movies? Do you prefer the theater? Do you prefer at home?
I prefer it in a basement with a humidifier going on. Just kidding. If I have a choice, I would say no at the theater. Right, exactly. No, I mean, there's no place, in my opinion, there's no better place to see a film. And this point was being made at the Oscars this week, is that you cannot experience cinema unless you are in a cinema, because part of it, as we talk about so often, it's a shared experience. So, I mean, you could sit in your basement, or you could sit in front of a 70 or whatever 80-inch TV and stream something, but you know, in my case, it's just me and a bottle of scotch, you know, but you're not going to get that shared experience. So I think part of it is the shared experience. That would be my favorite place, a theater.
That's great. Okay, so do you have, like, when you go to the theater, do you have a favorite snack that you like to order?
Popcorn.
Okay,
popcorn.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. You know, unlike the Penguin, I don't have a Sprite for me, please. It's more Coke. And I smuggle in a fifth of Jack Daniels, and so, you know, by the second act, I'm ready to go. No, I'm just kidding. If my mother's listening, she's thinking, "Don't say that. Why would you say that?"
But Dad, she can't ground you. You're way past that age. It's not happening. Don't worry about it. No, I think a lot of people do that. They sneak in the booze or their drink of choice, and there are worse crimes you could commit, to be honest.
I guess I think I've stuck at M&M's once, but I kind of look at it, you know, I'm not a big gambler either. I haven't gone gambling since my days in Platteville. Would sneak across to East Dubuque on the boat, and I took $20 back when they had slot machines and you actually used nickels. And so I kind of look at theater and go the same way. It's like, all right, it's $20. I'm gonna buy a small popcorn and soda and just enjoy it.
That's fantastic. That's the old school. That's like
I'm very old school. I'm very old.
Well, I love it. No, and it's like that never gets old because who was it that we had on? I think it was last week, Conrad. Somebody said when you get to the midway down in the popcorn, oh, damn it. What was that line they had?
Was that Rich?
Maybe it was Rich.
Yeah.
Tellerico. Yeah,
I think
I'll
it was.
have to remember. We'll have to find it. But anyway, so all right. So you like to go to the theater. Do you have different snacks at home, Todd? What do you have a certain movie you like to watch at the theater as opposed to home?
I think action films. Yeah. I mean, that's what you can't replicate that at home. I don't care what kind of home theater you have. So an action film, you want to see an epic, a Titanic. I mean, you can't see Titanic at home and get the same experience. So these big epic films like that, I say that's good to watch at a theater. You know, probably comedies are a little easier to watch at home. You still get most of the effect. It's not quite as cinematic maybe as other films, but I'm getting into streaming, as you can see in the popcorn picks of the night. I have not one, not two, but 3 DVDs here, and so yes, I have a big DVD collection because here's the deal: streaming, they decide, well, it's not doing too well, let's take it off. Well, how the hell do I get it then? I mean, take a film like Dave, all right, one of my favorite political films, Dave, and they take that off of the streaming. Well, how am I going to watch it anymore?
Well, and not only that, like I've caved, and usually I just like to spend the $4, $6, whatever it is to rent something. But if my only options are to buy, like I bought The Brutalist, that was the only way I could see it before the Oscars, and it's like I'll never see that money again. The movie was not worth it. And I own that now with about 5 other titles. No idea where they are. I'm sure if I looked fast, I could find them somehow, but I'm totally lost.
But they're up in the cloud. The cloud. Things are in the cloud. But are they really? We can't touch it. It's like crypto. You can't see that stuff. I mean, it's crap. And so, I mean, I don't trust the cloud. And so I want something tangible. You understand? I mean, I just ordered, I know you guys have talked about it, the great film from last year. I think it should have been documentary of the year, Just a Bit Outside, the story of the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers, with Wisconsin's own Kelly Call and Sean Hanisch as a producer and director respectively. And I've got that now on DVD. By the way, go to Amazon and order it.
I was not paid for that endorsement.
I'm sure Sean loves the plug. My guest is Todd Alba. You can hear him every day from 12 to noon, host of the Todd Alba Show here on Civic Media. He does such a phenomenal job, and he puts every ounce of effort that he's put into his appearance here tonight with his outfit, get up. He rented a fireplace. I think he had botanists come in and
Right? Isn't this beautiful? A lizard tongue, an Allen lizard tongue, playing for the Packers or Lazard. I guess it was a Lazard at the Jets now. Yeah.
Your producer Aaron Zomer says this version of Todd is my favorite movie character for sure. I don't think any of us would disagree with that.
By the way, Zommers could be a movie because he's a very interesting individual, and he could do a whole documentary on Zommers.
Dude, anytime I do my show from Madison, Aaron and Casper are awesome. And
They're great. They're the best.
They're like just top-notch people.
We're very, very fortunate to have people like them and Conrad. I mean, you and I get the privilege of being on microphones and cameras, but it's all the people behind the scenes that make me look good. And by the way, it takes a lot to make me look average. So, I mean, look, Pete, I don't get up out of bed every day and just look like this. It takes work. It takes people to help me look like this.
All right, I think we're ready. Conrad, if you please, we're about to get Todd Alba's popcorn pick of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Conrad. He's dressing the part. He is ready. And this will make all kinds of sense in the world, folks, when Todd tells us what his pick is.
This is a film, and I think you guys did a version of this before, maybe worded it differently. Films, I think the one you guys did was films that everybody else likes that you didn't or something. This is a film that only I like. It gets like 5 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's from 1995. And the people I'm in their house tonight, my friends Kurt and Florcy, we went to see this when we were in college or just out of college at the theater from 1995. Andy Garcia and Steal Big, Steal Little. In which, did you ever see this? Did you ever see this film?
No.
There's a reason.
My limit at Rotten Tomatoes is 6%. If it's below that, I don't watch.
It got higher than 5, but it wasn't. It I don't know what it was, 30 or 40, something like that.
I love
but
Andy Garcia.
I know there's another guy. So Andy, the quick synopsis of this is that Andy Garcia plays both parts. Twin brothers. They got kind of separated when they were kids, and one goes to live with the dad, and the other one goes to live with the mom, who is more artsy. And so it's how they basically fight over the family fortune after the mom passes away. And listen, Alan Arkin is in this movie. How can it be bad? David Ogden Stiers plays the judge.
Charles.
Yes, Charles and Mash. And at one point, the conservatives, of which David Ogden Stiers plays the kind of the jerk judge, the conservative judge in this, and they have a men's retreat up in the hills where they all dress in drag and get drunk together. Thus, this is the David Ogden Stiers get up in the film, and it sounds a little bit like a getaway for Lindsey Graham in the U.S. Senate. But anyway, and chaos ensues. It's a great film. We can talk more about it on the other side.
It sounds like a great celebration of men, which who doesn't appreciate that? All right. Todd Alba has just made the popcorn pick of the week. We'll recap it right after this very short break. Don't go anywhere. Tune in on the stream and check out Todd. He went to all this effort, folks. It's Pete Scwhaba and Nite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Art to Bay Settlement, 97.9 WGBW.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. In a brief to the North Carolina Court of Appeals, a bipartisan group of former county election directors urged the court to reject a claim that as many as 65,000 voters were ineligible last November. And a former state Supreme Court justice is arguing in another appeals case that gerrymandering by the state legislature is akin to stuffing the ballot box. We followed the claims from state Supreme Court candidate Jefferson Griffin that as many as 65,000 registered eligible voters had incomplete registrations in a race he lost by 734 votes to incumbent Justice Allison Riggs. The race is the only unresolved election in the country. In late February, a bipartisan group of 42 former county election directors filed a brief outlining why the voters should be considered valid and concluding the citizens of North Carolina who obey the laws and the direction of the elections administrators should not have their votes discarded. In another North Carolina case, former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr is arguing in state appeals court that the legislature's gerrymandered voting districts manipulate election outcomes. By packing voters by party into a district, he argues, it violates the state constitution's guarantee of free elections with a fair count. Orr told the Charlotte News and Observer, if they can't stuff the ballot box, how can they stuff the voter pool? We have more on both cases at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISC.
Has a text for Todd. He says, actually, it's for Aaron, Todd's producer. Mr. Zommers, if you can convince Todd to dress like this for Friday's show, I might just skip work so I can watch again. Your outfit is costing people money, Todd. That's what I'm taking away from it.
Who's to say I don't dress like this every day? No, I don't.
You get done with your show, you just go home and put on the tutu with a cowboy
Right, exactly.
Hey, tell me the name again. Todd just made the popcorn pick of the week, folks, and it's Andy Garcia, David Ogdenstiers, Alan Arkin, but what was the title again?
Steal Big, Steal Little. STEAL Big, Steal Little. And I think you can stream it. It got such terrible reviews that it barely. I have one of the few DVDs actually in existence. And so you pay like $50 if you want to buy it on DVD. I think online. But you can. I think you can still stream it. And I know it's hard to be serious looking like this, but for the radio people at least, I think one of the reasons in all seriousness that I just watched this again over the winter. I watch it usually once, maybe twice a year. What I love about it is that it reminds me of a life-changing experience I won't go into right now, but one of the first times I went to El Salvador back in college and 1992, and people down there had very little, so you really feel the meaning of life. Well, one of the brothers played, both brothers by Andy Garcia. One lives very poorly, and the whole point of it is that we all kind of just. We focus on the money, we focus on the glamour, on the materialistic thing. But the other brother focuses on relationships and the simplicities and sharing a good bottle of wine and dancing with friends in the evening. And that was really the point of it. And also the secondary point it is, I think it's funny. But also just that, even when we love people and they crap on us, if you still love them, eventually maybe they'll come around. And so I just think it's, and the final one is just that we all wear a mask to some degree. In all seriousness, I was 38 for goodness sake before I came out of the closet, and that was ridiculous. 38. I mean, most of my friends knew by that time, but so I think but you don't have to go that far, right? I mean, we all do. We don't want people to know what we really are like at home, or we all put on makeup or clothes or drive a certain car, and we're wearing a mask. And so at the end of the day, if you could just be yourself with the people you really love, that's all you need.
That.
So
Absolutely.
there you go.
That.
Andy Garcia, Steal Big, Steal Little.
God, we got a nice recommendation for the movie, an awesome message delivered by Todd. How only you can deliver, Todd. You're so good at that, and that's just a million bucks, buddy. But Aaron, he's not done with you. Aaron Zommers says, Steal Big, Steal Little is available on VHS for like $6.
If you still have, that's about my speed. VHS from the 80s and 90s.
You could probably find it a little cheaper if you go to Amazon or eBay. But I'm very curious about this film, though, and I will check it out now. That's all
right.
That's fantastic. Hey, Todd, did you see any of the Oscar films?
I did. I watched. My God. The Oscars are like the gay Super Bowl. It's where if we don't watch, we get our card taken away. You're kidding me?
Listen, I'm the same way. I love the Oscars. And my wife made a joke. She said, "Oh, come on, nobody watches the Oscars." And it's like they announced that it's 1 billion people.
Right. Come on. And I thought, for my money, Conan O'Brien was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I thought he was a great host. I love Conan O'Brien anyway, but
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the better Oscars recently anyway.
I have to. I wasn't going to do this, but I thought
Do
you
it.
went to such effort here to find an Andy Garcia movie. When I lived in L.A., he was a fellow baseball dad, and we had the same baseball glove from the same year, a Wilson A2000.
Wow.
From like I don't even remember the year now. It was like 1984 or something like that. His was in much better shape than mine, but I was like, I had one of those moments where I'm like, I'm comparing my baseball glove with Andy Garcia's, and we're just having a conversation. It was so crazy.
Wait, stop the damn show. You know Andy Garcia?
Listen, I don't have contact information. It was just very
But you hung
casual
out with him.
on the baseball field with our kids, yeah.
Yet
It was pretty
again,
cool.
something else I'm jealous and absolutely love about Pete Scwhaba. This is the thing, and this is why people should listen every dang night, is because you're like the 6 degrees of separation to Hollywood. You know people, you've hung out with people. It's like the entertainment version of the Trump weave. You weave it all together.
Well,
I'm
listen,
serious.
if you live in an area long enough, you just get these stories by accident. You know what I mean? I'm not
Is he?
saying
Hey, well, here
we're
is he?
best
Is he?
friends
Is he a chill? Was he a chill dude to hang out with?
Very cool guy. And again, we didn't really hang out. It was always just some kind of conversation between innings and pitching to our kids. But yeah, very good guy, at least in that context. I think if you approached him in the grocery store, he might
Right.
be like, oh, especially if you were wearing that. But he might not be as forthcoming. But under those circumstances, we kind of had something in common. It was pretty cool. Yeah, he was.
I heard people,
quote
quote unquote, in the business say that he's a really great person to work with and
Oh,
a
really?
great
Oh, that's cool.
contributor. I've heard that. Yeah.
Hey, Todd, Brian from Milwaukee says, I thought the Tonys were the gay Super Bowl.
No,
Yeah, actually-
it's kind of the gay Golden Globes.
I had no idea there were these many categories.
And by the way, Neil Patrick Harris should be named the permanent host of the Tonys. There's been no better host ever of the
He was
Tonys
great.
than Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes, he was great, and I agree with you
That
about Conan.
That opening of the Tonys is not just for gays anymore. I mean, that was from Neil Patrick Harris. But yeah, I thought O'Brien was great this year.
Hey, can we keep you for a few more minutes after the break?
For
I
you,
feel
the world. For
with
you, the
effort
world.
You put into your appearance. I feel like we should just make this a mini series. But I know I'll have to let you go at some point. But
You've got other people. You got other things. I'm just,
Todd Alba is going to stick around for a few more minutes after the news. Civic Media's news team is ready to tell you what you need to know. We're having a blast here with Todd Alba. Catch his show every day here on the network from noon to 2 p.m. Just a great show. Paul Hanna coming up at 7:20. Great to have you with me on this. What do we call it? Christmas Eve, Conrad? What is it? Christmas Eve of weekdays, right?
Yeah, yep.
That's right, baby. It's Thursday night. We're coming right back on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I found myself phoning her at least 10 times a day. You know, it's so unusual for me to carry on this way. I tell you, I can't sleep at night.
WGBW and WGBW.FM. Maggie Dawn.
At the top of the show, I'll be joined by the University of Wisconsin-Madison professor Yoshiko Herrera to discuss the evolving situation in Ukraine. Are there any silver linings?
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Can our NATO allies continue to rely on the United States under President Trump? What is your take, Professor Barrington?
The conversation had been going into Friday. Can Europe just get a seat at the table for these negotiations? The right question now is, can Europe build a new table? And I think that's where they are. February 28th, 2025 is going to be remembered as, I think, a pretty key date.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram. This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Tariffs on products imported from Mexico and Canada that seem set in stone are now on hold for a month in executive orders from President Trump. Concerns about tariffs rock Wall Street. Major indexes losing ground for the third time this week. President Trump was asked about that at the White House.
There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing.
Mr. Trump wants to make it harder for political opponents to sue his administration. He signed a measure directing the Justice Department to ask judges to require litigants to post money. Orlando, Palm Beach, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale airports are under ground stops due to space launch debris from a Starship rocket from Elon Musk's SpaceX company. Launched from Texas, engines flamed out, contact was lost. Nobody on board. This is ABC News.
While the teams get ready to choose their top draft pick, you can help Mino and the Mayor choose their top craft pick.
Northeast Wisconsin is home to amazing breweries, wineries, cideries, and distilleries, and we need your help picking the best.
We've drafted 10 of our favorites, but which local craft beverage creator will go to number 1? That's up to you. Top craft pick creators include Sturgeon Spirits in Oshkosh, Timekeeper Distillery in Green Bay and Wausau, and Ledge Rock Distillery LLC in Eden. Vote for your favorite now by logging on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick. When you vote, you'll enter a random drawing to win $250 in gift cards from participating craft creators. Don't wait. Voting ends Friday, April 18th. Log on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick and vote right now. Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick, drafting Northeast Wisconsin's finest one sip at a time.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Started as a pilot program in 2023, the 3-lane configuration of College Avenue in Appleton will stay. The program reduced the number of lanes on the busy thoroughfare from 4 to 3 and added bike lanes and a turn lane. Data from the Appleton Public Works Department shows a nearly 13% reduction in accidents after the changes were made. Councilmember Brad Finkus.
The decision to go down this route was a pretty gutsy one. And right out the gate, it did get some pretty negative feedback because I think it was hard to imagine how having less lanes could accommodate the traffic that was down there and make anything better. But we've seen what this is capable of, and it's capable of making a calmer, more people-friendly environment. I think after the pilot has concluded, we can say this was a good project. This was a good effort.
The Appleton Common Council voted unanimously Wednesday to make the changes permanent. It's described as a once-in-a-lifetime event for the city of Green Bay. The NFL Draft 2025 will take place at Lambeau Field in April. NFL Global Head of Major Events, John Barker, joked with the Green Bay City.
The Bucs down the Mavericks. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucs cruised to another win at home, 137-107, past the Dallas Mavericks team missing 7 other players. How did the Bucs handle themselves? Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I thought we played the right way overall. Aggressive, moved the ball, defended. They have so many guys out. Tough for them. That's how I kept thinking that. You got Klay Thompson over there, and so it's just a tough spot.
College hoops, the Badgers with a win in Minnesota, 74-67. John Blackwell led with 25 points and a career-high 11 rebounds. Marquette losing at UConn, 72-66. The game delayed for 22 minutes at the start.
I said it was a leak in the roof, and it was leaking on the baseline. They talked about canceling the game if it didn't get addressed. So, I told Danny we'd go across the street to the practice gym if we had to, but I'm glad we could play the game here.
That's Marquette head coach Shaka Smart with Sports on Mike Clemens.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Increasing clouds tonight, lows upper teens to 20. Clouds tomorrow morning, then turning mostly sunny for the afternoon and highs in the upper 30s. Even warmer temperatures for the weekend and into next week, highs climbing through the 40s, even some 50s. Currently 35 degrees.
Matt Nair on air.
Will Westmoreland is joining us now. He is a farmer in southwestern Missouri.
This is an 80-20 Republican area down here. You can't throw a rock without hitting a Republican. And I still know all the guys I graduated with. So I always ask, don't admit you were wrong, just admit you were lied to. That's a lot easier to do. If you just admit you were lied to, you can get over here with us and start working to fight the problem.
Matt Nair on air, weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, Recombobulating with Dan Schaefer. That is coming your way. Also, Pete Scwhaba from Nite will join us to talk about the killer flaw in that movie.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite with Pete Scwhaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who does his own stunts, Pete Scwhaba.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of this Thursday edition. It's the Christmas Eve of weekdays, a Thursday night here in the beautiful state of Wisconsin, broadcasting live from downtown Green Bay. Man, we are having fun here tonight, and I have to say, it's the popcorn pick of the week. We just heard Todd Alba's popcorn pick of the week. It was Steal Big, Steal Little, an Andy Garcia movie. If you're watching on the stream, he's holding up the DVD. I don't know if you kids remember what a DVD is. I know I do, because I still love DVDs, and I still have a whole bunch of them. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what to do with them anymore. Todd, we have, this is great. Brian from Milwaukee says, OMG, Todd, I totally agree. Patrick Harris was great.
Thank you.
And then this is a great, I love this one. Dave from the 626, I think that's Pasadena. He says, had to laugh listening to your show in L.A. I worked on Steal Big, Steal Little.
Get out.
And he went to high school with Greg Liana, my sometime writing partner, who Greg and I have sold some movies together.
See?
So how is that? That's insane.
And by the way, Pasadena is truly one of my favorite cities in America. It's a beautiful, beautiful city, and it feels so homey out there in Pasadena. But thank you for calling it, because, again, I think it's just an underappreciated film, and it was written as a comedy, and it's one of those movies where you have to just suspend and say, okay, I get this isn't reality, but just it's fantasy. Just let your mind go with it. Appreciate the little tiny messages, laugh at a little slapstick, and have fun. That's what it's about.
And like you said, we all have movies like that were just not considered really good movies, but we liked them. Annie on the stream or on the text says, okay, old lady question, how to stream your show. See, everybody wants to tune in now and see Todd. Conrad, give us a quick, very brief tutorial, if you would, please.
Yeah, so if you go on Facebook, we're under Nightlight with Pete Scwhaba, WGBW or WISS. On YouTube, it's Civic Media or WGBW, or Twitter, it's Civic Media or WGBW.
I actually knew that, but Conrad does it much better than I do.
I'm the same way. That's why I have Zommers. I'm an analog guy living in the digital world, so I just have him. And by the way, before we go any further, can I just say, please, the promo that you guys have put together, I'm guessing Conrad did this promo with you and Dr. Lyerly talking about rubbing yourself at night, your feet. If that doesn't win a Wisconsin Broadcaster Association award for best promo of the year, then they ought to just shut the damn awards down, because that's the best promo we've had all year. Well done, Conrad.
No idea. All right. Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, sir. And I liked your Netflix and chill one ran for a while, and we had a lot of fun with that one too. That was outstanding.
So that was my own stupid. That was real too.
Maybe that would be like the bracket of the 64. Our two promos will square up. Here's another text from Andrew in Maine. He says, Pete, just logging into the live stream, and I fully appreciate your ability to accurately describe Todd's outfit for the radio listeners. Outstanding, buddy. All right.
Disaronno and Squirt is the drink of choice right now. If you've never tried it. Disaronno, it's an amaretto. And my friend Kurt introduced me to this at a Christmas party probably 15 years ago. 2 shots of Disaronno over ice and then Squirt. It's killer. Kidding. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
So you got Maker's Mark there next to you. You said
that was the appetizer.
Now you're drinking that. I can't wait to hear you tomorrow. It's going to be fun. All right. Are you watching anything, Todd? Like, do you binge watch series too, or are you mostly a movie guy?
Thank you so very much for asking. I'm a big Star Trek guy. Picard, I thought that was a great series, and it was over. I came real late well, to the streaming series of Ted Lasso. My sister begged. I prolonged that for months because I didn't want it to end. I think one of the best series ever, and I'm a little nervous they're going to come out with a season 4 now because I don't know how you recreate that magic. I was a big Ted Lasso fan. But my show of choice right now for all of us broadcasting people of a certain age, like broadcast TV. I know you mentioned earlier about the FBI series and all that, some of these top shows being canceled. And I mentioned earlier Kelly Call, originally from Burlington, Wisconsin, a longtime president of CBS Entertainment that helped him get to #1 in some of these great series. And there's a new, and I'll be honest, I don't like all of them, but this new one, NCIS Origins on CBS, I think it's on Monday nights. I DVR it. That's this person still, or whatever. I record it on YouTube TV, whatever it is, and I watch it at my leisure. But it's an origin story of Gibbs, a longtime character on the original NCIS or NCIS. It goes back to like his story, and the reason I like it is it takes place in the early '90s. And so there are no cell phones. It relies much more on the writing and the acting and old time, crime settling or solving stuff, and not so much at all the computers. And I find it well written and well acted. So NCIS Origins on CBS, my new series on TV. I recommend it.
Very cool. My wife watches the NCISs, and when that Origins came out, I just kind of was like, it's another NCIS. But that sounds cool. Like, if they would do a better job of it, like sometimes there's so many spin-offs, it's like, oh my God, like I've seen it before.
I'm exactly like you. And I forget, they of course, these programming people are so smart. They made it, the premiere come on after something else I was watching. I can't remember, sports event or something. Maybe it was like the NFC Championship. I don't know. But whatever it was, or would have been AFC on CBS. But anyway, I literally thought to myself, I don't need this. You understand, Pete? I don't need another show. I don't need, especially the NCIS. This has been done already. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to like it. And of course, my social life had nothing else to do, so I just left it on. And I'm like, well, crap. Now I like it.
You gave it a chance, and now here you are.
It was because it's really good.
That's fantastic. Hey, dude, this was so much fun. Thank you for raising the bar. Going the extra mile, whatever you want to call
it.
For
you, Pete, the world. I'm serious.
Who do you have coming up tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow we've got Brady Ewing, who will not be in a tutu, I'll guarantee you. He is one of the best fullbacks to ever put on the University of Wisconsin football uniform. He won 3 Big Ten championships, went from a walk-on his freshman year in our mutual hometown, Richland Center, to the team captain his senior year with the likes of Russell Wilson and Aaron Henry. They went to 3 Rose Bowls, won 3 Big Ten championships. Then Brady spent 3 years in the NFL, and now he's back helping coach high school, and he does some speaking to kids. I wouldn't call it motivational; it's just life coaching. So he'll be on. We'll talk a little bit about the Badgers have a big game on Saturday. Yeah. We'll talk Badger basketball and life and whatever. And Mike Clemens does a great job reporting all. By the way, my costume tonight is on loan from Mike Clemens' closet, so that's fun. Mike just has this stuff laying around. I said, well, can I borrow it? And he said, sure.
He's going to be here tomorrow night, so I'll run that by him just to make sure you're on the up and up.
Mike is a fantastic man, and we're so lucky to have him. He's a pro's pro, unlike the person you're talking to now.
No, we're lucky to have you, buddy. Thank you so much for your time tonight. You and Aaron keep doing a great job. Oh, we got one more quick text from Andrew in Maine. He says, I might pay to see the Todd Alba show with Brady and Brandon Ewing in tutus. Just ask Todd. All they can do is say no.
All we can do is we could ask.
You never know.
All
Buddy,
right.
thank you so much.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers to all of you. We'll keep listening. You guys do a great job. Thanks for having me around.
Easy there.
And by the way, we got to get you on our show. Are you represented by CAA these days? Who do we have to contact?
They dropped me a long time ago. Just send me a snail mail or I'm old school. Send me your VHS in a snail mail. We'll work.
All right.
Anytime,
we'll get you on.
All
right. Thank you.
All
I
right,
appreciate
cool.
you.
Todd.
Thanks.
That's
Bye-bye.
Todd Alba. Check his show out every day here on the network from noon to 2 p.m. Such a great job. And I can say this now that he's gone. It won't sound like I'm blowing smoke or anything. But when I started doing this, I listened to all these civic media hosts, and Todd was one of the first ones I met. In fact, I was telling that story that he was one of the first guys I met, and then I looked up and saw him in the tutu and the cowboy hat, and I totally lost my train of thought. But big props to Todd. Thank you, buddy. We got to read some text, Conrad.
Yeah.
I can't. I got to see if I can scroll back here. Our question of the night, folks. You still got time to get in on this. Who is your favorite movie character? Today is the day of the dude. As you know, or maybe you don't know, the dude is Jeffrey Lebowski, The Big Lebowski, one of my all-time favorite films. Check it out. And so it got me thinking, what is your favorite character in movie history? And we've heard some great ones so far. Who else have we heard here? Oh, Conrad, I'm doing it again. I'm looking at your messages instead of the text line.
Yeah.
Pete, where's the water? Like, it's like I'm not even on the right page here. Here's Brian from Milwaukee says, Pete, don't feel bad. I self-cuddle too until the man of my dreams comes along. I hate being single. Oh, Brian, listen, Brian, I don't self-cuddling, for those of you just tuning in who weren't listening last week, I noticed a lot of people rub their feet together when they watch TV. And in my house, outside the house, wherever, on a plane, people rub their feet together. That's what they do. They don't do that for other body. Like, you don't sit there and rub your shoulder or your head. So I called it self-cuddling, and apparently a lot of people chimed in. Dr. Kristen Lyerly had fun with that one, as we heard. So you self-cuddle as long as you want, Brian. There are no rules to self-cuddling. And listen, even if you do meet the man of your dreams, you can still cuddle yourself. You probably still have to from time to time. Sherry from Horicon says, we're way backed up here, buddy. She says, good evening, Pete and Todd. You did not get a hello from Sherry, Conrad. I'm sure it was an oversight. Brian, hello, Sherry. Hope you're having a great night. Brian from Milwaukee says, Ernest scared stupid. Ernest saves Chris. All right, I'm not even going to finish that text, Brian. I know you're kidding. But Ernest is a movie character. That's legit.
Doesn't he have like 17 different movies?
He does. And Brian says, it's Ernest P. Worrell, played by Jim Varney. I remember Jim Varney. Loved all his various characters. And, of course, Brian from Milwaukee. Guy from Free Guy. Do you know that, Conrad?
That's a Ryan Reynolds character.
I'm so done with Ryan Reynolds.
I knew you were going to say that.
He needs to go away. Honest to God. Go sell your Mint and your cell phones and all that other crap. Make a good movie. How does that sound?
Actually, Free Guy was hilarious. I think it was a phenomenal movie.
I'm not
you
saying
should watch it.
I'm not saying
it's
he's
on Disney
incapable.
Plus.
He's made good movies.
Yeah.
I just think he's done making good movies. All right. Guy from Free Guy. I like that. Thank you, Elliot. Thanks for the text. Aaron, that's Aaron. Jim from Kenosha says, Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. You kill my father. Prepare to die. Great character, Jim. There's another one, too. Wesley is a great character from Princess Bride. I like the actual Princess Bride. I always had a kind of a crush on Robin Wright. Tony the Trucker chimes in. He's in the 608. He says, Pete, got to be Uncle Buck. Who wouldn't want to hang with him? That's a great one.
Yes.
That was not on my list either. I love it. And then 920 says, Derp. Sorry. That's Mary from Green Bay. Did she say?
I think she.
You want to change your answer or something? I don't know. Anna from Madison checks in and says, hi, Pete and Conrad. Conrad, I'm impressed with your organizational skills. My favorite movie character is Del Griffith, John Candy from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's another great one. Keep those texts coming, folks. We'll read them on the radio. Coming up next, local guitar badass. Paul Hanna joins me here in the studio. It's Pete Scwhaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
And you know it don't come easy, and this club of mine keeps growing over time, and you know it just ain't easy.
This is the talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to new, NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you, New Nordic.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate.
Governor Tony Evers has released his budget, calling this the most pro-kid budget in state history. This is now the fourth time that Evers has put forth a budget proposal, and the three prior were all met with a similar fate. Republicans in the legislature rejected it entirely. Again this year, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos called the budget dead on arrival. To a certain extent, this is what we've come to expect from this era of divided government in Wisconsin. In previous years, Evers has eventually signed Republican-authored budgets and used his line-item veto powers to make certain changes. But could he play hardball this time around and threaten to veto the entire budget? Is there anything in this pro-kid budget that has to be there? Things like education funding, or clean water protections, or Medicaid expansion. With everything going on in Washington, now might be the right time for Evers to fight for these proposals and fight for Wisconsinites in any way he can.
Find all of Dan's work.
Hey, this is John Grise, also Uncle Rico, and you're listening to Nite Lite with Pete Scwhaba.
Gonna be some sweet sounds coming down the night shift. I bet
Welcome
you're
back.
singing proud.
We got a Steady Eddie text here. Let's save that one, Con. Steady Eddie wrote a long one. We'll get to that one a little later. You still have time to text, though, if you want. Who's your favorite all-time movie character? In honor of the Day of the Dude, the Big Lebowski. That's the question of the night. Right now, I'm excited to welcome my next guest here to Nite Lite for the first time. He is a Northeast Wisconsin-based singer-songwriter, Paul Hanna. Paul, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
This is so great, man. It's always fun to meet someone new and have them in the studio as well. And you found the place okay? You said you've been here before?
Oh, yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Do you live in Green Bay?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Born and raised, right?
Yeah, born and raised. Yep.
Fantastic. All right. So I feel like people listening, and I got to get this out of the way. A shout out to Matt Harper for introducing me to Paul, because Matt's been on the show a couple times. I don't know. How do you guys know each other?
I've met Matt through doing some shows and stuff. He's been a huge supporter of the stuff that I've been doing. He's been saying a lot of positive things, so that's great. I'm glad he's supporting what I'm doing.
That's excellent. So just give us some background for people that are listening that might not have heard of you. Can you give us some background? Just kind of let us know a little bit about how you got into this racket and who you are.
Green Bay native. My brother and I started the band when we were kids, middle school at Washington
This is
Middle
Annex?
School. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And my brother Craig plays drums in the band, and we essentially waited till I graduated from high school. I was playing about 4 nights a week when I was in high school.
Wow.
And then when I graduated in '96, we hit the road, traveled all over the country, did that until about 2003. Our bass player at that time, he passed away in a motorcycle accident, Tommy Steinbrecher Jr. And since then, we've been doing a benefit every year. We raise a bunch of money for instruments and give those to kids while we do a show. And we used to do it at Riverside Ballroom. It's been at a couple different places. It was Riverside was kind of our mainstay for a while, but now we've switched it up and we started doing shows at Epic.
Oh, nice.
And doing some stuff over there, and it's such a great stage. Everyone that works there has been so great.
It's supposed to be like for musicians. Is it like an amazing setup with acoustics and all that? It's a great place to play.
It's just it was very well thought out. There's a lot of places around where you might go in and maybe the hall is awesome and it sounds fantastic, but maybe the backstage area isn't what some other places are.
Okay.
When you walk in there, they have a huge ramp. The loading dock is fantastic. So for anyone that's traveling, and you got a big rig, they're set up for it, and they can really take care of it. They have in-house sound there, security's all set up there, and they put a lot of thought into it.
This is so cool. Like it's so obvious. I love when someone's here and they talk inside baseball. Like you're covering all the stuff most people listening don't think of. Oh, it's easy to haul your equipment in and all that. Like you don't think of that stuff. You know, you just hear the music or you think about the music. That's great. I think I just told you I was watching an interview you did with Frank Hermans on his WFRV show. It's kind of a few years old, but he said that you've been doing this since high school, and you kind of just touched on that. what were you traveling? Were you working the road when you were that age? What was that like?
Well, I hit the road when I was 18. It was kind of crazy when I was 18 years old. But this is just one story. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened, but one of them that went down actually in '97. We were playing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the whole bar burned down. We almost died in it, and we lost all of our equipment, lost everything. Right, had to start from scratch. We barely made it out. Lost, like I said, all the equipment, all the drums, the sound system, the PA, the light show, everything, and this is me to my core. I haven't done anything really aside from just playing music. That's just always been what I've done. And so there was that stretch where we had to rebuild after the fire. We basically loaded up we had a van at that time, loaded up the van full of equipment. We had the drums and we had a suitcase packed with about a week's worth of clothes. And we would travel for months, and we would come back for about 2 weeks, and then we go down south and go down there and play for 2 months, and then dip over to, it was just we were constantly being routed around the country, and it was all, but this is a different time too. When I graduated in '96, a lot of the venues had, they would have you there for 6-7 nights in a row.
Okay.
So it's not like one-nighters like it is now.
Yeah, which is brutal, especially if you're a musician.
Oh,
you
for
got
sure.
all that equipment. It's funny, I did stand-up in the 90s and worked all over, and it was always fun. Like sometimes they'd do a comedy show, then the band would come up.
Yep.
So we always ended up kind of partying with the comics and the band, and I was always so envious. I always just wanted to sing and be in a band. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And little did I know, I was kind of doing the coolest thing ever that I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But another comic says to me, "Are you serious? You want to unload? They're not getting out of here till 4 o'clock in the morning with all that equipment they got." And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, maybe comedy's not so bad because it's a lot of work, right?"
Oh, I did spring break every year. They had a venue called Club La Vela. They would do spring break. MTV was always there. They always had, it was a really big, huge place. I think it held like 7,000 people. It was just a huge club. There was a pool inside, the whole deal. But we used to get done down there at 3:30 in the morning, load the van, and then drive straight through to get back home because we hadn't slept in our own beds for 2 months. It was just inspiration to get back home, right?
But I hope people listening realize like the dedication to your craft and to your art and to what you do. A lot of people wouldn't do that. But all you want to do is play music. And especially when you're that age, I think that's fantastic.
It's the music thing is it's never let me down. It's never cheated on me. It's never left me,
Right.
It's always been there. So it's been it's a great relationship.
That's excellent. All right, that's the voice of Paul Hanna. We'll come back. He's going to play something for us, and we have a little surprise for Paul coming out of the break. You're not going to want to miss this. Civic Media's news team is about to tell you what you need to know. This is Night Light with Pete Scwhaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
From Ashwaubenon to Alloway, this is 97.9 WGBW. Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. There may be no correlation between the two, but the NFL draft is just around the corner, and the Green Bay Packers have increased their season ticket prices. Brittany Merlot has the details.
The Green Bay Packers released their ticket prices for the upcoming season, and fans are going to have to spend a bit more money. Regular season tickets will increase between $7 and $21 per game. Of course, it depends on where you want to sit at Lambeau. Preseason ticket prices are roughly half the regular season prices, and those will increase between $3 to $11 per game.
The latest Marquette University Law School poll of Wisconsin voters finds the Democratic Party's favorability rating is especially poor. The poll gauged favorability of each of the two major political parties, and while the Republican Party is polling at a slight net negative, the Democratic Party's favorability is especially poor, with only 34% viewing it favorably and 62% unfavorably. The poll is among registered voters in Wisconsin and has a slight Republican lean in its sample. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is calling for increased funding for staffing at the Wisconsin State Crime Laboratories. On Tuesday, Attorney General Kaul and a group of state legislators asked for $2.7 million of the state budget to hire an additional 19 positions in the labs. There are just 3 crime labs across the state that cover the forensic evidence needs of law enforcement at 72 counties. Officials say they've seen long backlogs in processing evidence, causing lengthy delays in court proceedings for serious cases. WGBW has an e-newsletter that comes out twice a week, and it is filled with stories you care about from the greater Green Bay area. Subscribe today at WGBW.FM. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Scwhaba. If you're heading to the theater this weekend while the snow melts, here are some moving pictures you might enjoy, especially if you're into sci-fi. Opening in wide release is Mickey 17. It's being called a sci-fi, comedy, drama, mystery, thriller. It covers a lot of bases. I think the only genre they're missing is adult film. The movie stars Robert Pattinson, who plays an expendable on a dangerous mission to colonize a planet covered with ice. The film is getting mad love from critics with an 87% and certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Another new sci-fi film that hits theaters, In the Lost Lands, stars Mila Jovovich and David Bautista. The film is about a queen who sends a sorceress into forbidden lands to find magical powers, kind of a necessity in the sorcery game. It's a nice cast and sounds fun, but is batting about a 50% with just a handful of reviews in. If science fiction isn't your thing, there are still lots of leftovers in the theaters from the last couple weeks, and most Oscar films are available to stream. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Night Light with me, Pete Scwhaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Increasing clouds tonight, lows upper teens to 20. Clouds tomorrow morning, then turning mostly sunny for the afternoon, and highs in the upper 30s. Even warmer temperatures for the weekend and into next week, highs climbing through the 40s, even some 50s. Right now it's 33.
Picture waking up to stunning waterfront views on Lake Michigan with private beach access right outside your door. Can you see it? Make it a reality and book a vacation rental in Door County, Wisconsin, and discover a world of natural beauty and relaxation. Explore charming small towns full of arts, shopping, and history. Head out for boating, kayaking, and hiking in scenic parks, or stop and sip local wines at Door County's best wineries and breweries. What kind of trip are you planning? Find your perfect Door County getaway today at simpleliferentals.com.
You can be a hero for kids with cancer, and all it takes is a nice shave. Hey, it's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you. And you can kick off St. Patrick's Day with the 21st return of Brave the Shave, a St. Baldrick's fundraiser for childhood cancer research. This is a mass display of support and sympathy to those who have no choice in losing their hair during treatment. So you can get involved and shave it all off, or if you prefer to keep your luscious locks and wonderful beards, head to WGBW.FM, click events, and learn where you can donate.
Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. Brady Ewing will be here, former
folks. Paul Hanna is here in the studio. I heard you were a big Kiss fan. I did my research, and
Yes.
I want to tell you that my first album I bought when I was a kid was an album called Machine Head by Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And I walked to Sears in my neighborhood in Chicago. Me and my brother probably had no business being that far away from home, but just to buy Deep Purple. And that was my second album I owned, was Destroyer.
Yeah.
So I love that I found out that you were a huge Kiss fan. And I haven't listened to much in recent years, but you got to play with them.
I got to play with Ace, I think it was like 3 or 4 times, and then Gene I did one show with. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And Ace is your idol, right? Or it was when you were younger?
Yeah. Growing up, he was such an influence. Watching when I'd see those videos as a kid, it just ruined me. You know, like I'd see him, I'm like, I got to do that. I got to be that guy.
That's so great. I remember as a kid, too, like some kids in the neighborhood were like, thought they knew it all. And so we hear Kiss and they go, Ace Frehley or Jimmy Page. There'd be Ace Frehley over here. None of them knew anything about what they were talking about, but they just loved their guy, you know?
Yep.
So Paul Hanna is here. He is a Northeast Wisconsin-based singer-songwriter, and he's the front man for the band Annex.
Correct.
And he is in the studio right now with his guitar, and he's going to play something for us, which is so fantastic. What are you thinking, buddy?
Awesome. I'm going to do a song called New Morning. I wrote this song with one of my best friends, Chad Reislager, and it was super funny because we used to, back in the day, you know, we'd trade off cassette tapes, but now you can text ideas. He was actually in India when we wrote this song, so
wow, nice.
We were going back and forth, and he was across the world, so it's pretty neat.
Fantastic. All right, what's it called?
It's called New Morning.
New Morning. Paul Hanna on Nightlight.
Is it over? Has it just begun? In this new morning, moving forward with all that you have done. In this new morning, and every time we're together, there is something that is better. I declare there has got to be a method to this madness. Deep inside this sea of sadness, it's so clear to see it. I've got a lot on my mind. Ooh, is this world getting smaller? I wish I could rewind. Every time we're together, there is something that is better. I declare there has got to be a
great. Paul Hanna.
Thank you.
New Morning.
New Morning.
Love it. How old is that song? Is that something new or?
That's it's not super new.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that. Maybe.
You So we talked about Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
I know you've played with Cheap Trick and those guys. You can obviously really rock. You also list Don Felder as one of your influences. I think you did in one of your, or you played with them.
Played that show, yep.
Interviewed with Frank Hermans. This was kind of more of a cool, almost sounded like you can't always get what you want type. What's your choice to play? Do you like to headbang? Do you like to play it more chill? What's your favorite stuff to play?
I just love melody.
Yeah.
So if it's rocking and there's a melody, I'm in. If
Okay.
it's mellow and there's a melody, I'm in.
Was there a moment like when you started? I think you said, I read something that said you were like 9 years old when you started playing the guitar or something.
Yep.
Was there a moment where you were like, I have to play that? I have to learn how to do that? Were you watching someone? Did someone put it in your hands?
My mother took me to see the movie La Bamba, and I will never forget.
Nice.
I will never forget it for as long as I live. When
you got to find that song, La Bamba.
Yeah.
So
when
great.
I was younger, my mom took me to see that movie, and I'm sure the week before I said I wanted to be an astronaut or I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever I was going to say that week. But after that happened, I looked at my mom and I said, I want a guitar and I'm going to do that, because I watched everyone, they just freaked out. And that song, for some reason, it hit me. It affected
it's one of
me.
those songs that when it comes on,
yeah,
no one goes, oh, this again. They just love it. It's like iconic, you know. That's so cool. You were talking about Tommy's Benefit before.
Yes.
Do you want to just, in case people just tuned in, tell us what that is again and where they can find out more information about it? Because I don't know that we covered that.
So we are now linked in with the Greater Green Bay Community Foundation, which is, they've got their website, and you can hop on that and there's a link that you can find the Tommy. It's called the Tommy Foundation. We've been doing this since 2003. He passed on June 14th of 2003. And since then, we've been doing, we used to do it around, there was a couple different shows that we did, but now we do it right around his birthday, which lands right around Thanksgiving. And we've been doing it consecutively. I mean, COVID threw a wrench at that year, and there was a couple that we weren't able to do when I was touring with Hairball and such. But the event has gone, every year, and we essentially, I don't want to ruin the surprise too much, but we get these kids to come up and jam, and they're usually very young children. They're kids, and they come in, and we find students that necessarily maybe their parents can't afford to get them a brand new Les Paul or a new drum set. And we have those instruments up on stage. They think they're just coming up to play. And then that night they walk away with a new drum set or a new guitar. But we give away all that stuff in front of right around, 1,500 people. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm a novice. I own a guitar I've had for 40 years. It's an old beat up Applause. So I don't know anything about guitars. So forgive me if I got this wrong, but I was reading an article about you, and it sounded like you said you picked up a Les Paul. But the way the article was written, did you learn on an electric guitar or acoustic?
So my first guitar I ever got was a nylon string harmony that my parents got from Mecca Music here in Green Bay when they were still open. And I got that for Christmas. And I played that for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then I switched to an electric. Excuse me. I always say to people they should start out on acoustic.
Right.
Get used to playing quote unquote cowboy chords and learn, the fundamentals to what the guitar kind of is. And then when you get an electric, it's a completely different beast. It really is.
Those are killers on your nylon strings. Like those will give you like calluses worse than steel strings, right?
I feel like I feel like the nylon string is more kind of like, it's got fishing line, for the top three strings. They have a different tone completely, but when you get into the phosphor bronze like an acoustic, they'll rip your they'll rip your fingers right apart.
You talked about Epic Riverside. Do you have a favorite? Like, if you could play one gig in the Green Bay area or Northeast Wisconsin, where would it be? What venue do you absolutely love?
I feel like I've been very blessed. We got to play the Brown County Arena, which is where I saw my first rock concert ever. I got to play the Resch. I opened up for Ted Nugent and Styx and REO when they were there. I did a solo thing for that. But Epic is, they all kind of have their own thing. You know, the Resch is so big and so ginormous. It's very intimidating to say the least. But Epic is laid out so well. I just have, it's tough not to go with Epic, but yeah, I mean it's such a great venue,
All
and I've had a
different
lot of
in
shows.
their own
Yeah,
ways.
exactly.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite band that you like to watch live? Like when you're out in the town and you see someone's playing, who are you like? Oh, I got to go see them.
As far as local,
yeah, just local Northeast Wisconsin or Wisconsin in general.
I'm a big fan. There's a band from Milwaukee called the Delta Routine. They're an original band. They're fantastic. I did some. I actually got to run sound for them down at Mill Creek back in the day, and they were excellent. Delta Routine.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you met. I didn't want to forget this because I wanted to ask you when you met Ace Frehley.
Yes.
Gene Simmons.
Yes.
And you had them probably on a pedestal most of your life. What was that meeting like? Sometimes we don't want to meet our idols. Were they cool? Did they disappoint? Tell me.
There was a funny story about the day that I met Ace Frehley. So I did an interview with I got some good friends that work at APL too, and they ended up doing an interview, and they had Ace on. They brought up my name for this, talking about how we were opening up. So Ace acknowledged it, right? And he talked about, they said Annex, and he's like, oh, they're going to open up, blah, 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 blah. And he goes on and on. Well, I was told that some guitars they went missing that day of the show, so the tensions were really high.
Yeah.
And then I remember I could hear through the walkie-talkies through the radios, they said the guitars are found. They're on their way to the venue. Immediately you heard everybody, right? Well, I have a Gibson Les Paul Ace Frehley custom. It's his signature model. And I ended up getting that years back, and being such a Kiss fan, he rarely signs guitars. It's a big deal for him to sign a guitar. And when we did that show, the promoter Ryan Vandersanden pulled me aside. He said, "Come on in." And Ace is just sitting in there, and it was just me and Ace. And I was terrified, just shaking.
Right.
He signed my guitar, came up, and he introduced himself to me, saying, "Oh, hey, I'm Ace." And I was just like, I didn't want to say like I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fantastic.
Kind of disarming in a way, like that he was so normal.
He'll never be normal in my eyes. He's like he's a space ace. He's like superhero to me, right?
All right, Paul Hanna is here in the studio, local guitar badass. I think that's what we could call Paul, or if you have something better, I'm fine with that too. But he's going to play something when we come back. I'll finish reading your text, and we will wrap this thing up. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Try to make the midnight show. Get up, everybody's gonna move their feet. Get down, everybody's gonna leave their seat.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Brian Lomack, defend the vote.
The SAVE Act will make it harder for all Americans to vote. Now you need a passport. Wisconsin specific, 5 million people don't have a passport. Now it's $130 per passport.
Even if you can afford to get a passport, that is a months-long process. Unless you planned a year ahead, you're not going to be able to vote.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. The Todd Alba Show.
Think about how many people in our communities, our friends, our families, our neighbors, are postal workers, carriers, people that work at our Veterans Affairs hospitals, USDA. Here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump's lieutenant, thinks of all the people I just mentioned.
Federal employees do not deserve their jobs.
That's what Donald Trump and MAGA believe if you are a federal worker.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
That first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody.
Through all of fatherhood's first, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You are never far away from your favorite radio station. We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. And if you missed your favorite show or game,
All right, Con, make sure I don't skip a text here. Craig Kennett checks in on the stream and says, Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Clint Eastwood as the Man with No Name, the Western trilogy. Yeah, that's a great one, too. Fistful of Dollars. I couldn't even name the whole trilogy right now, but that's a great one. And then Steve from Florida says, favorite movie character, Rocky Balboa, and TV show character, Barney Fife. Oh, those are great, too. Thank you, Steve. Well, your dad and I were totally on the same page last night.
Yes.
I think we could pal around. Annie from Watertown says $3.99 on Vimeo. Steal big, steal little. Thank you, Annie. Check it out. Todd Alba's favorite. That was his popcorn pick of the week tonight. And then Steady Eddie chimes in and says, Pete, concerning your missing shirt, sometimes a shirt will run away from home if it feels neglected. I'm not judging you, Pete, but try leaving a small saucer of fabric softener on your back porch. In a few days, I think your long-lost rag stock, wow, he listens hard. Your long-lost rag stock will find its way back home purring like a kitten. Favorite movie character, Humphrey Bogart, Rick in Casablanca. That is awesome. Of all the radio stations in the world, I tune into your show, Mr. Scwhaba. Here's looking at you, Pete, and Conrad on YouTube. Steady Eddie watches on YouTube?
I guess so.
I can show. He's referencing my shirt. So, who was that masked man in the pink tutu? With the cowboy hat, Steady Eddie. That was the one and only Todd Alba. That was a blast. And then Jack, finally from Merrimack, says, my favorite movie character is Brett Maverick, as played by James Garner. I realize that's really a TV character, but Garner also played Maverick's pappy in the movie. He did a great job with both. Yes, he did, Jack. Jack from Merrimack. I have not seen that movie in so long, but I did see it. Everybody, thank you for the texts. Thank you to Todd Alba tonight, and thank you to my guest who is in the studio with me right now, helping me close things down here. Paul Hanna, this is fun, man. Great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thanks again.
What do you like? Obviously, you've had your band Annex forever.
Yep.
Was it weird the first time you thought, I got to do something different? I'm either going to play with another band or do a solo thing, or do they get weird about it, or do they know everybody needs to do that and you're coming back, or what?
When I didn't stop anything with Annex. The only time that I was exclusively gone was when I was with Hairball, because it was such a, I mean, that was a serious tour where we were gone pretty much for almost 6 months straight in a bus. So I mean, it was that I had to cancel my whole summer for. But when I was with Flip, that was an original band, and we played. We didn't play a ton of shows, but the shows that we did do were very memorable.
Yeah.
And they were one of my favorite. They were up there as far as one of my favorite bands that I've ever loved.
Yeah.
And to be asked to join this band was a huge honor for me.
That's excellent. I got two more quick questions for you.
Of course.
Then you're going to play us out, and I love that. You said in an article I read that Les Paul guitars are so rock and roll and so meat and potatoes. What does that mean? What does meat and potatoes mean as it pertains to guitars?
Well, in the 80s, there was a guy that made a whammy bar system, and it's called the Floyd Rose, and it's what Eddie Van Halen used, where they could do the dives.
Right.
They could dive all the way down, and all these. There's a bunch of different companies that made all this stuff. There's guitars where you can tap, the humbucker to make it a single coil pickup, or there's a lot of stuff that you can alter, you can do underneath the hood, right? To me, Les Pauls, there's for primarily they're using the same technology that they did from the 50s,
right?
Because it works. It's just a chunk of wood that sounds fantastic with some good pickups.
Gets the job done.
It gets the job done.
All right, last question for you. We were talking before I was talking about kids in my neighborhood saying, Ace Frehley, Jimmy Page, and none of them knew what they were talking about. You know what you're talking about. Who's the greatest guitarist if you had to pick someone of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one. I am,
I didn't mean to.
I don't.
Give me one of them.
I'd struggle with that because I feel like there's so many different. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan is up there for doing what he did, the Texas style blues. He killed it. Like, he was the one that was a monster.
Loverboy is one of my favorite tunes of all time.
Yeah. And I think that there's I'm one of my favorite bands of all time is called Dada, and they're from California, but they're just a monster trio, and that guitar player's name is Mike Gurley. He's a fantastic player, and he's a huge influence on me with that too.
That's interesting. Maybe guys we've never even heard of that you have because you're in the mix. So, all right, I wanna close this down because I really want you to play again, and thank you again for bringing your guitar. Paul Hanna's going to play us out. Thank you to my guests. Thank you for all the texts. Good night, Wisconsin.
Thanks for having me. This one's called Under. So